Which is the most expensive Harley Davidson ever made? Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you enjoy the channel and the series of videos. Please like, share, subscribe, leave loads of comments below. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. So in this video, I'm talking about Harley Davidsons. Yes, they are known for being very expensive to the mere mortal rider. But there are some truly expensive Harley Davidson examples out there. So this video is all about those. Okay, so the first bike I'm going to talk about is the VRod. Now many people think, well, that's not a very expensive machine. You can pick them up for a few $1,000, sort of $10,000, $15,000. But the point is with the VRod that only 11,000 units were made. They are a performance machine. They are made in conjunction with the help from Porsche as well. It's a very special type of motorcycle. It has its own look, of course, and it attracts a certain kind of rider. Because there are only limited numbers as well, that value is likely to go up in the future, especially for pristine examples. So the VRod, whilst it may seem a little bit ungainly, whilst it may have been ahead of its time in terms of technology, certainly for Harley Davidson, it is one of those bikes that is going to retain its value, and it's also going to increase its value. And it was one of the most expensive motorcycles that Harley were producing when it first launched. Now, many modern Harley riders, whether they're buying the big Tourers or the trikes, can easily spend in the region of about $40,000 to $50,000 and above. But actually, some of the limited edition variants that have been produced over the years may indeed hold their value more and may increase their value. Just like the CVO Street Glide that was produced, and that's coming in at just over $30,000. Some are actually increasing their value now to $40,000 to $45,000. That is a bike for the future. Watch out for that one. Now, another Harley Davidson that has reached the $100,000 value is the EAL Knucklehead. This is a bike that has revolutionized, I suppose, the Harley Davidson fortunes from the pre-war years and then going through to the war years as well. This engine and this motorcycle was the one that saved the company in many ways, and it took them off in different directions. So that's why it's kind of the first of its type, and also that's why it's going to keep on retaining its value and increasing its value. So any motorcycle that is the first of its kind will naturally hold a lot more value in future years. Just as the EAL Knucklehead was the first twin air-cooled motorcycle that obviously is still in use today, or the same sort of principle, I should say. Now also the JH2 cam was the first of its kind, and that is kind of valued in the region of $150,000 to $170,000 now. So the JH2 cam first came out in 1928, could achieve 85 to 100 miles an hour, and it was the first of its kind that could really achieve those kind of speeds and reliably take the rider to infinity and beyond. Now, obviously, there are many other motorcycles that may be more expensive, but there are going to be one-off motorcycles or very short-run motorcycles for specific uses that will reach a high price at auction, let's say. So the DAH Hill Climber, for example, is one such motorcycle. Now that can reach up to over $200,000, or the value of it can be over $200,000. But one could apply the same logic to any other superstar motorcycle or famous motorcycles from a celebrity, let's say. So if we consider an Evel Knievel bike, if we consider an Easy Rider bike, that kind of thing, they will increase in value. But a specific motorcycle, just like the DAH hill climber, that will also achieve a tidy sum too. Now, of course, vintage motorcycles will always fetch a pretty penny at the auction block. And any of the pre-1910 singles from Harley Davidsons, the ones that really got the company going, those, well, they can reach anything from $300,000 to $500,000, and maybe a little bit more. Some which are unrestored, some which are restored. Some indeed can hit the $1 million mark as well. So lots of these vintage motorcycles, of course, we know have a lot of value in them, especially if they are completely original, and especially if they have all the original components on them. Now, any motorcycle that is the sole survivor of its kind will also have a lot of value associated with it. Now, we could pick up many motorcycles of this type, but one Harley Davidson that is still in the Harley Davidson Museum, it is the only one of its kind to have survived, is the motorcycle that is valued at about $500,000, and that is the Model 5D Twin. Now, this stems from 1909. Only 27 motorcycles were made, and it is a belt-driven motorcycle to belt drive to the rear wheel. Now, it had a 50 cubic inch engine, the magnetic ignition, and also it was carburetor fed as well. Now, any motorcycle that has kind of a racing pedigree, a racing history, or the first races of its kind, will have and will retain a lot of value and will increase in value to particular collectors. So the 8-valve racer that Harley produced from 1916 to 1923 are valued in excess of over $1 million. Now, only 20 bikes were ever made, and only 2 are still in existence, and one of those is in the Harley Davidson Museum. Okay, so the next most expensive Harley Davidson, I suppose, is one that isn't really expensive because of its technical aspect. It's more to do with the artistic flavor that it has. The Cosmic Starship is coming in at over $1.3 million. Now, the Cosmic Starship has a unique frame, and it boasts a 6-cylinder engine, would you believe? Now, it was the artwork on the bike that gave it the nickname the Cosmic Starship. Now, whenever you have a motorcycle that has an artist's name attached to it, or an artist does the artwork on a bike, in this case Jack Armstrong, whose pieces can go in excess of $3 or $4 million, then you know you're onto a winner. Now, the Easy Rider motorcycle is probably the most well-known Harley Davidson custom motorcycle ever made, and it's valued at over $1.5 million now. With its patriotic flavour, it was nicknamed Captain America, and it was ridden by Peter Fonda in the film Easy Rider, of course. Now, some of these may pale into insignificance compared to other manufacturers and other creations that have been made over the years. The Yamaha BMS Chopper is valued at over $3 million, and that's just an exhibit piece, really. It's never meant for the road. Now, the Ecos ES1 Spirit, that's valued at over $3.5 million, and it's a fully titanium frame monster. And apparently it will get up to over 370 kilometers an hour. Wow. Now, when you can compare very limited edition bikes with racing history, then you have a recipe for a very expensive bike indeed. Now, this is the 1949 E90 AGS Porcupine at a whopping $7 million. Now, only 4 of these were ever made, and they were ridden by racer Les Graham, who won the World Championship in that era. So as I say, racing history and success, limited editions, then you've got a very high price tag. And last, but by no means least, is the $11 million price tag for the Neiman Marcus limited edition fighter. This is basically just a frame with a motorcycle engine, 2 wheels, and off you go. Wow. So whilst there's some really expensive Harley Davidsons out there, and probably the Easy Rider being the most expensive at $1.5 million, the Neiman Marcus is, well, that is by far the most expensive to date. But as we know, all motorcycles are getting more expensive by the day, and Harley Davidsons are no different. But, you know, hopefully they can still provide value for money, and maybe not so much of a hefty price tag that will send us all scurrying off to cars or just onto push bikes. We wouldn't want that. Well, I hope you found this useful and entertaining. As I say, there are some very expensive motorcycles out there, and some of them are Harley Davidsons, as we know. Catch you on the next video, whenever that is. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below and let me know what you think. What do you think is a really expensive Harley? We could all say they're expensive, but what do you think are the most expensive ones these days? And I'll catch you on the next video, whenever that is. Bye now.